Hey, yo, what the hell? I wanted to talk today about the denial of Charles Taze Russell being a Freemason and why that doesn't really make a lot of sense. We're talking about a guy in the 1800s that was a Freemason involved in a secret society. He used terminology that was secret. He used symbols in his publications that were Freemasonic. That's where they came from. He used the terminology Watchtower, which is Freemasonic. He also used Golden Dawn, Millennium Dawnists, um, the winged disc. He used the picture of a winged disc in one of the publications. So there's all that there. That evidence that connects Charles Taze Russell to Freemasonry. Is there any conclusive evidence? Well, Lloyd Evans is correct when he says that. There is no conclusive evidence, but I pretty much just covered it just then. We're talking about the 1800s, mate, where there was no internet, there was very little resources to find out such information. If you want to find out whether I'm a Freemason now, you're going to find it a little bit difficult unless I go around wearing I'm a Freemason on the back of my t-shirt, and that's not what they're about at all. They communicate in their own language, whether it be their handshakes or terminology. That's how they go about it, and the more they can bluff people that they're not, the better it is for them. So we have that. We need to put two and two together when it comes to this particular topic, because, as I said, no one's coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm a Freemason." They're going to talk in their own language, as XJW Smurf Girl mentions when she corrected Lloyd Evans in her video, when Lloyd mentioned some of the things that were said about Freemasons by Charles Taze Russell. That is clearly the way they talk. And if you have a look at it in its context, you'll see that's exactly the way they go about it. It's not unlike the way Jehovah's Witnesses go about it as well. When you meet somebody and they say that they're a Jehovah's Witness and they mention they're in the truth, bit of terminology there, you don't doubt that they're a Jehovah's Witness. Brothers and sisters, etc., these sorts of things, they're right throughout the witness organisation. So, I mean, why would you doubt that? I know he likes it to be conclusive, but we're dealing with a guy that there was very little information on in terms of him being a Freemason in the 1800s. You're not going to get that from anyone. But using a little bit of common sense and putting two and two together, looking at his tombstone, which was memorialised by the Masons on the Mason property there, which Lloyd Evans denies was ever until recently a Freemason. The guy's just done no research at all regarding this, and it surprises me because normally he's pretty good, but he fucked up on this one. He really has. Just because there's no conclusive evidence means that we have to look at the whole situation, understand that because of the time, because of the fact that it was a secret society, you ain't going to get a lot. But if you can just put a few little big pieces of evidence together, like their terminology, as I said, Watchtower was a Freemason term way before Charles Taze Russell came along. Daunists, the Millennial Dawn, so we were Millennium Daunists before we were Jehovah's Witnesses. The fact he used this cross and the crown in his publications. Not only that, the tombstone that they used to memorialise him had the cross and crown just underneath where the all-seeing eye of pyramid would be, all-seeing eye of Lucifer would be on the top of the pyramid, like in your $1 note, I believe it is in America, or $100 note. That's the way it is. And just underneath that, there's a big logo, big symbol of the cross and the crown. I mean, they don't even believe that Jesus died on the crucifix these days. This is how far away Rutherford want it to be from Charles Taze Russell, but there's no denying that he is the founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and this is essentially where you've come from as a Jehovah's Witness. Underneath the cross and crown on the pyramid, it says Watchtower, Bible, and Tract Society. Okay, so here's a little bit of, he didn't come out and say, I'm a Freemason. Of course he fucking didn't. But the evidence is there, which allows us to put two and two together. And if you're denying that information, well, that's just ignorant. It's just ignorant. Ex-JW Smurf Girl talks about the way they would use language. And if you Lloyd Evans, if he was to go ahead and use the context of what he spoke about in his last video, he would see, or maybe he wouldn't, but most of us that know a little bit about Masonry would see that Charles Taze Russell was speaking in secretive terms, so as the other Masons would understand where he was coming from. It's a little bit different these days, but that's the way it was back then, I would imagine. So to completely deny it the way Lloyd has, I think is surprising. I usually enjoy his videos because he's conclusive about what he talks about. But to deny the fact that Charles Taze Russell was a Freemason is kind of really, with the information we've got, is silly. Why would you do that? Why, as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, would you think that that's something that is impossible? We've got all this evidence to say, yeah, all these connections to him, which are Freemasonic, but we're going to go, no. What the fuck for? Why? It just doesn't make sense. What is, oh yeah, also, I don't know if I mentioned in this video, but one of the publications that Charles Taze Russell brought out as Zionism Watchtower was the winged disc, which is Ra, the sun god. It's another thing that Freemasons use as a symbol. So we've got all this evidence, and then we've got Charles Taze Russell, but we can't. Because there's no conclusive evidence, we're going to deny it. We're talking about Freemasonry. It's a secret society in the 1800s. What conclusive evidence do you think you're going to get? So we need to just really put two and two together and summarise that. Yeah, he was a Freemason. There's no two ways about that. The next video I want to make is about Rutherford, and he's wanting to completely disconnect from Charles Taze Russell. But the reason why is really interesting. It's the beginning of door-to-door sales.